Hey, how is everyone? I'm just gonna sit here and chill for a few. Say it takes about 8 to 10 minutes for people to get the notifications. Oh, rest in peace, Thomas Debarge. I'm so sorry to hear of his passing. Um, I had just finished reading his book a few weeks ago here on this very channel, and I noticed that I put all the links to all the book readings of this book in every description box of every video of his book. And I clicked on a link and it says this video is unavailable. Um I guess at the time when I did the links, like when you do a video and it's during the rendering process, and if you put that link, that's not like the true link. So that's why when you click the links in the description box, it says this video is unavailable. So I'm going to have to go through them all again and put the correct links in so that whatever video you're watching, you could just go in the description box and click the link to the next video. But chapter 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, they're all on this channel. Or you can search and put, They'll Never Be by Thomas DeBarge, Madamwhipass, and just type in the chapter numbers that you're at, and the video should come up that way. But I had fun reading that book. I have a lot of respect for him. If nothing else, I appreciate his raw honesty. Um, so many families and members of families, there'll be a lot of stuff going on, and nobody usually wants to talk about it. Or if they do, you know, they just leave out stuff because they don't want to be ashamed or viewed a different way. But nobody's going to get helped if you don't tell the truth and nothing but the truth and all of it. And that's what Tommy did in his book. He told what was true to him. I don't think he lied about anything. Um, I'm not sure if he left anything out. I think things that were really, really too deep in the family, he did touch on it, but he didn't go into details. And that's okay. He touched on it. We got the picture. We got the idea. And, you know, I'm sure that book helped him. It definitely helped me. And as far as his family members, nieces and nephews, grandnieces, grandnephews, siblings, um, I pray that it will help each and every one of them, because in that book, he certainly left the blueprint of how that entire family and the current generations can heal and just stop the madness and the dysfunction and the addiction. At the end of the book, we were left with him sleeping like in the back of a storefront church, still battling his addiction. And it left us with a sense that he was on the road to recovery from addiction once and for all. Now, whether that truly happened, well, if we go by the book, probably not. I hope so. I pray that, that was the end of his addiction madness. But if we going by the book, there were times in the book where we thought, okay, He's tired of this. He finally is going to kick the habit. And he did, but then he always went back. And so, unfortunately, we'll never know from him whether he picked up again or not. So I understand he passed away. I think he had kidney disease and issues with his liver. He was 64 years old. And, you know, to tell you the truth, he probably did kick the habit. He probably did. Because let me tell you something, especially with crack. I know this to be true. Now, well, let me put it this way. I know this to be true with old school crack, not the new school crack. Old school crack, new school crack. Well, yeah. If you're around my age, if you were like a teenager or a young adult in the 80s, you know that people who smoked crack, especially when it first came out, and for many years up until you could say around the mid 90s, I noticed a difference. But in the 80s, man, you could be fat as a pig. You start smoking crack, you were skinny as a twig in like 2 or 3 weeks. Your face was sunken in. I mean, you just went straight from a fat ass to a straight skeleton in less than 30 days. You were just out of your mind. You walked real fast. You looked like shit on a stick. But in your reality, when you looked in the mirror, you thought you was fine as hell. Hair sticking straight up on top of your head, your feet black and dirty, your skin and bones, your breath stink. But when you looked in the mirror, you damn near saw Janet Jackson. That's that old school crack. Old school crack, you just became non-functional. You didn't work. You lost your job. You steal the crack out of somebody's ass. It just consumed your whole mentality. All you did was think about where you was going to get the next hit. Walking in the street, you didn't look ahead, you didn't look up, you looked down on the ground hoping to find a piece of rock or something. You would sell your children, you would sell your own ass, you'd sell your dog's ass, you'd sell everything in your house, you'd sell everything in your mama's house. You didn't give a fuck who you stole from. That's that old school crack. New school crack, you smoke crack and you still can keep a job. You smoke crack and you still fat. You smoke crack and, you really can't tell. People really can't tell who's a crackhead these days. But old school crack, man, you knew immediately who started smoking crack. It showed in more ways than one. And so I said all that to say the old school crack, those crackheads, they be on a mission for years, cracked out for years. And then when they finally decided to get clean, whatever that rock bottom was for them, they would get clean. And within a year of their sobriety, I know far too many people, their kidneys fucked up, they had strokes, they had heart attacks. When they finally made up their mind, this is it. I don't want this stuff no more. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to, set some goals and reach for the stars. And they would be on that path, and then all of a sudden, they had a stroke, and now they're disabled. And it was because all them years that they were on crack, their organs and stuff were so high, constantly, all the time. So their whole body, their organs were intoxicated. And once the organs got cleared out from all that intoxication, their body would just shut down. The organs would just shut down on them. So that's possibly what happened to Tommy. He probably did give it all up. And after years of having a clean, unintoxicated body, now the organs are like, oh, fuck this shit. We breaking down. It's a possibility. But his relationships were something else. I mean, that Ducky individual, she came from a dysfunctional home like hell. I think her family was into prostitution and things like that, and just pure dysfunction. And you got two dysfunctional people together, and she was like one of those chicks that can pop out some kids and kind of bond with them for years, and then, shit get too rough. I'm out. You raise these fucking kids. I'm gonna live my life. Fuck around and get high. And do drugs without the responsibility of children. So yeah, she was one of those mothers. And then we saw how he gravitated towards this 19-year-old girl at the time. Wholesome girl, part of the church, talented musician and singer. And he's at the time maybe 38, 30 something. Definitely in his 30s. A crackhead, a married crackhead, father of 4, crackhead. And he gets with this young 19-year-old who never did drugs. And that started a whole new saga of dysfunction. But I must say that April, the 19-year-old, she was really a good woman. She really was. She raised his 4 kids along with the 2 I think they had. Probably had a couple of more after that. I'm not sure. Don't quite remember. I know they had at least 2 together. Yeah, I think they had 2 together. And she put up with and did a lot more than I would have ever done. I mean, I guess she loved him. I guess that's love. I don't know. Maybe I've never loved anybody because ain't that much love in the world that I'm going to deal with a drug addict. Oh, hell no. You going to steal my wedding ring. You just out. No, 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 no. Get the fuck out of here. I can do that all by myself. I don't need nobody's help. So, I just don't understand that kind of love. And I don't want to know that kind of love. I don't ever want to love somebody that much that I'm going to put up with years of their addiction. No, you're going to choose drugs or your family. Right here and now. If it's drugs, go ahead. Go on with that bitch. I ain't going to be mad at you. But you're not going to be living here making me miserable, making our children miserable, being a fucked up example, being a poor provider, looking like shit, going into psychosis every time you're fucking high until it bleeds out into when you're sober. I'm not putting up with that. No, 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 no. Never in a million years. I ain't got the time. Me and my children will make it with or without you. But if we gonna make it with you, nigga, you gonna have to be sober. So choose what bitch you want, crack or me. So that's that. But he had a very interesting life. He accomplished a lot, you know. He's done a lot, seen a lot, and I can only hope that he rejoined with his brother Bobby and they jamming in heaven, you know. I wish uh you know what how can I say? You know, for his family and friends, you know, my condolences. And may their grieving process not be so burdensome upon their souls, you know. Losing a sibling is mm, it's something. It's something. No matter what type of dysfunction you all grew up in, y'all bonded in that and throughout that dysfunction. And you know, there's bonds, and it is what it is. But anyway, I just want to go live and have a conversation with you. I should have gone live from my computer, but I just did not feel like it. Of course, I'm in the bed. And you know, hopefully have a conversation with you in the chat. So come in the chat and say hello. I have a lot of new subscribers from these book readings, and I was hoping that perhaps I could meet some of you and speak to you live in the chat. You've been leaving a lot of comments. I appreciate your subscriptions and your comments and all of that. And so I figured I'd go live and hopefully catch a couple of you just to say hello and get to know you a little bit better. Because you know that's always a good thing. And right now I am reading Inside the Mind of BTK. Serial killers ain't for everybody. But it is Halloween, and if you want to get into some true crime horror, Inside the Mind of BTK is it for you. Like I said before, I enjoy every bit of this book from beginning to end. And if you don't know or you're not interested in criminal profilers, you might want to just jump to chapter 9, because that the whole book delves into BTK, but I believe starting from chapter 8 or 9, it goes deeper inside of his mind and his behavior and his quirkiness and his weirdness and his pervertedness. And for me, it leaves me still thinking, like, how the fuck did you get this way? You know, if you don't believe in demonic possession, I don't know what's wrong with you. Because BTK is the personification of a demon. And that is no exaggeration at all. Straight demonic. And, you know, you try to go back into his childhood and figure out, well, what happened? He wasn't molested as a child. He wasn't physically abused. None of that. He was born this way. When I think about how he, like, for most of the day, for the better part of his days and nights, he lived in a fantasy world. He was constantly fantasizing. I mean, have you ever fantasized or even daydreamed? Just imagine, you are constantly daydreaming all day, all night. 85% of your waking hours, you are daydreaming. And I just said daydreaming just to get you to understand it better. But he wasn't exactly daydreaming, he was fantasizing. And I guess that lends itself to his um, delusions, of course. But, living in a fantasy world like that, well, the dots I'm trying to connect is, for instance, it yeah, it lends itself, the fantasies just lends itself to his odd thinking or and magical thinking. And his odd thinking, for an example, was, he never had intercourse with any of his victims. And there was a reason for that. As I stated before, the reason was because he didn't believe in cheating on his wife. But it was okay for you to strangle them and bind them, torture, and kill them. But oh no, you don't cheat on your wife. How dare you think I would do such a thing? That's terrible. Yeah, that's his attitude. Odd thinking. And I know I gave that example before. There's plenty of others. I just don't want to give it away. So that's why I went back to the same example. That odd thinking just blows me the fuck away. Um, his magical thinking. Haven't got to that part yet. I don't want to give it away. But there's a difference between odd thinking and magical thinking. And his magical thinking is just that, magical. I'll leave it at that point. But hey, come on in the chat. There's 4 people. Can't you come in the chat and say hello? Just say hi, Madamwhipass. Introduce yourself if you're new to the channel. I would love to meet you. It's not very often these days I get to go live just to chit chat. And if I do, as you can see lately, it's only been for like 2 and 7 minutes. So I got just a little bit more time today, and I just want to have a conversation. Hello? So you just gonna hang out in the bushes? You know, likey? You not gonna say, Madamwhipass? How are you? Hello, Madamwhipass? None of that, huh? You just gonna sit in the bushes. You know what? That tells me you must be 3 of my fucking haters. Why are you on this channel then? Go someplace. Go someplace if you're not gonna come in the chat and talk. Excuse me? What's that you said? Oh, you're banned. You can't type in the chat even if you wanted to. Well, go and get one of your other fucking fake channels and come in and say hi. How about that? You could do that. But no, you'd rather just sit in the bushes and listen, right? Okay, have it your way. But yeah, So back to Tommy Debarge. I guess I said all that I could say about him. I'm just glad I was able to read his book, and glad that he has left a legacy. I still can hear him playing bass on a lot of songs, and he'll always be a member of that great singing, light skinned, good hair family, the Debarges, you know. But anyway, I guess I'll flip back to the serial killer stuff. I've been thinking about the next book that I would like to read, and that's between Bunny Debarge and this other book. And this other book, I kind of think I need to do a better introduction, meaning I need to introduce the story from my computer because there's a video I'd like to show you that would definitely pique your curiosity. So yeah, I'll leave that for another video. But yeah, so if there shall not be anyone willing to come in the chat and say hello, that's okay because my laundry is done and I gotta go put it in the dryer anyway. All right. So thank you for tuning in, and y'all be good and peace out.